Ali here with BOSSIP. Today I had a chance to sit down with SALOM REMI and talk to him about his fallen friend, Amy Winehouse. Tell us about when you first met Amy.
When I first met Amy, she was like 18. She was 18. And she came through, I was living in Miami, I just moved down there. And she just came into the room and started singing, you know, and I was like, what are you gonna do? And she started singing and playing her guitar, and I was like, all right, cool. I felt like it was something special that I was hearing from her.
You know her as a friend. Like, who was Amy Winehouse?
She was a kind heart. You know, she's really passionate. You know what I'm saying? She goes all the way with something. If she liked something, she liked it. If she didn't like it, she didn't like it. And she wasn't financially driven at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? She didn't really care about money at all. So that wasn't even like a thought to her, I'm going to do this because of some money. Like, it's either going to be good or I'm not going to do it.
Let's talk about one of her songs that she has. Because, you know, a lot of media outlets reported that, you know, her and Nas were probably dating, and she had the song, Me and Mr. Jones. Could you clarify what that song was about? Or?
Well, she never met Nas up to that point. So they didn't meet till like recently, but they were both vicarious. You know, they knew of each other. So actually, she sang on records that was supposed to be on Nas's, like Streets Disciple and different albums, and he knew her because it was somebody that was around me, and we're all close. But then they also shared a birthday. You know, they're born exactly 10 years apart. Nas is born 73, she's born 83, September 14th. So she felt the affinity. They have similar personalities as far as being introverts who now have become popular. And with the song Me and Mr. Jones, basically she was telling off a friend of hers that was, most of her songs are real, but she was telling off a friend of hers saying that, oh, you're the promoter, or look, you made me miss the Slick Rick show, but when it comes to the Nas show, I'm not going to miss it.
Right.
So she took the word fuckery to another, you know, she heard it because she loves, you know, West Indian culture and, you know, West Indian food, brown stew chicken all day for Amy. Like, no, that's her. So she took the word fuckery when she heard it and just took it to a whole nother place by making that song, which was called Fuckery. And they was like, I don't want to hear it. Then she named it Me and Mr. Jones, which was always in the song, the same lyrics. Then people were like, oh wow, it's kind of a whole nother place. But she did that, you know, the last verse, you know, Mr. Destiny, which is Nas's daughter, 9 and 14, which is their birthday. Nobody stands between me and my man because it's me and Mr. Jones. But basically it's proclaiming she has to be at that show.
That's dope. So you cleared the air. Nas and Amy Winehouse was not dating.
Nah.
Prior to her death, when was the last time you had spoke to Amy?
That Monday or Tuesday prior to that, I actually spoke to her.
And what was you guys' conversation about?
I was actually in London when she passed, so I was coming to London that Thursday, and then we were going to a wedding of a mutual friend of ours, Nick Shemansky, who was actually her manager on her first album, and who, you know, we all kind of came up together. So I was mentoring both of them as they were young whippersnappers getting into the game, coming to Miami to work with me, and, you know, getting into what was happening. So we were going to his wedding on Sunday, and I was supposed to go around to her house on Saturday when she passed before I could get there.
Like, she had a song, they tried to make me go to rehab. No, she wasn't going. Was there any truth to that song? Like, people, because you say that a lot of her songs are about truth. Was it people that were really...
Well, that story, they tried to make me go to rehab, was literally Nick Shemansky, who was the person I was getting married on a Sunday. We were going to his wedding. He and her were like brother and sister. So the reality of it is that he felt that, you know, she was at a point where it wasn't even a drugs thing at the time. He felt that she was drinking too much. And she was going out with this guy who was bad news. And the guy ended up being, you know, the person she ended up marrying, Blake. Nick took it upon himself because he felt like he was her brother or sister to drive her out in the middle of the woods somewhere. Like, look, Amy, I don't like the way you're acting. You've been drinking too much. You've been depressed. You're around this guy. I think he's bad news. You need to go to rehab. And that was pretty much the end of their professional relationship, because she was like, no, I'm not going, you know? But it was even more than just a business thing. It was just really the fact that they were like brothers and sisters. They were that close.
She cared about her.
Yeah, so he's like, you're going to rehab. And, you know, like I said, at that point it was a drinking thing. It wasn't even, you know, a harder drugs thing. And she said no. So at that time when they made the song, it was kind of like, okay, it was all funny. And even when we recorded my song, So Back to Black, she actually was detox. She wasn't drinking at all. So she was like, all right, now I don't want to drink. I'm in Miami. Let me just focus and write these songs, Tears Drown Their Own, all other stuff. She was really focused on that level. But then eventually, you know, dude came back.
Right.
And you know,
the bad news guy.
It became prophetic on some kind of way, because her thing was that she didn't want drugs, she wanted love, and she was trying to be closer to the person.
Right. Her drug usage or her alcoholism. Do you think it was like something deep inside that she was going through, or was it just part of her rock star lifestyle? Or
I would say it's personal, but then, like I said, I never was really around it like that. I was never really around her in that element. I never really got into those deep conversations with her regarding that. You know, I'd wait for her to say if anything at all, but I kind of left that alone because I was a sanctuary, and that's what I always was. You know, when her life was a certain way in England, she'd come out to me in Miami, and then we'd write songs, and she'd be able to write about the things that she wouldn't tell her best friend,
right,
you know, that lived with her, and she'd write a song about it called Best Friends, you know. I was always the sanctuary where she can come out and then musically express herself outside of the life that whatever else was going on.
Right.
I always kept it that way, never judgmental, never A or B, just, you know, straight up honesty as far as whatever needs to happen when asked, but at the same time really just supportive of the positive things,
right,
you know, and double reinforcing that.
Right, that's dope. That's important for a person to have a friend like that.
For sure.
Had she talked about how she was viewed in the public, as far as her persona and how they were putting her out there, and how they would say, you know, snap pictures of her and put them out there? It didn't bother her at all?
She don't care what nobody thinks. She's not affected by it. Everybody said this. It's like, okay, cool, you know, you're only taking pictures of me because I got nice hair.
Yeah. Like, she'll laugh it off.
She don't care. She's definitely not motivated by I'm doing this because everybody's going to think this. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? We're just not those type of people.
She just lived her life, and you took it for how you take it.
Take it for how you take it, you know. And that's not a conversation she had with me. Like, oh, everybody thinks I'm this or that. You know, everybody thinks she's not a musician. Like, she doesn't play guitar. Like, she didn't write the entire Back to Black album on guitar, and then we produced it.
Right.
And everybody thinks that she's not musically talented enough to know exactly what's going on. No, that's a G minor 7th. I said G major 7th. You know, look at you out the side of the eye. Like, she's a musician.
Right.
And that's like I said, that's what I support and kept, and I still support, and that's what, you know, will always be as far as I'm concerned. Just showing her ability and genius.